You sit there and wait. Don't you know it is a lunchtime?
My boss, please help me with some money.
Stop making excuses. Your repeated absences suggest work avoidance.
I need to take my child to the hospital.
Go and work.
Abuja decided to dress like an ordinary job seeker to investigate after hearing that his wife was mistreating people at the company he had entrusted to her. For weeks, different complaints had been reaching him. Employees fear approaching her because of the way she responds. At first, Abuja refused to believe it. His wife Lydia had stood beside him during difficult years. The following morning, Abuja woke up earlier than usual. Instead of wearing one of his expensive suits, he opened an old cupboard and removed clothes he had not worn in years. He put on a faded shirt. The collar was slightly worn out. He wore simple trousers and old shoes whose color had faded with time. He removed his expensive watch. He left behind his luxury car. Then he picked up an old file and placed a few papers inside. When he looked into the mirror, he almost laughed. The wealthy businessman who appeared in magazines had disappeared. Standing before him was an ordinary man, desperately searching for work. He quietly left the house. The company was already busy when he arrived. Workers moved in and out carrying documents. Customers sat in the waiting area. Several young people held brown envelopes containing certificates. Some looked nervous. Others looked hopeful. At the gate, the security guard stopped him. "Good morning," Abuja greeted. "What brings you here?" the guard asked. "I came to inquire about possible job opportunities." The guard pointed toward the reception. "Go and wait there." "Thank you," Abuja replied. Inside the reception area, he found almost every chair occupied. He squeezed himself into an empty seat at the corner. Next to him sat a young man who looked worried. "Are you also looking for work?" the young man asked. "Yes," Abuja answered gently. "I have been coming here for 2 weeks," the young man said sadly. "My mother sold some chickens so I could pay transport. I hope today I can at least submit my documents." Abuja looked at him quietly. He imagined the sacrifices many people made just to seek opportunities. Across from them sat an elderly man holding payment documents. A young mother rocked her crying baby gently. A graduate stared at his certificates repeatedly as though checking whether they were still there. The atmosphere was filled with both hope and anxiety. Almost an hour later, Lydia arrived. The receptionists immediately stood up. "Good morning, madam." "Good morning," she answered briefly. She walked confidently toward her office before suddenly stopping. Her eyes had landed on Abuja. She looked at his worn-out clothes, then at the old file in his hands. "Why are you sitting there?" she asked. Abuja immediately stood up. "Good morning, madam. What do you want?" she asked impatiently. "I came to inquire whether there are any job opportunities available." "What qualifications do you have?" "I have some experience and certificates," Abuja began. Before he could continue, Lydia interrupted him.
You sit there and wait. Don't you know it is a lunchtime?
Her voice echoed throughout the room. "This company is not for your father." Silence filled the reception. Several visitors lowered their heads. Abuja remained calm. "I'm sorry, madam. I only wanted to understand the application procedure." "You people come here every day wasting our time," she replied loudly. "If there is a vacancy, you will be informed. Sit down and stop disturbing everyone." Abuja nodded. "Thank you, madam." He returned to his seat quietly. The young man beside him whispered, "You are lucky." "Lucky?" Abuja asked. At least she answered you. Sometimes she sends people away without even listening. Abuja said nothing. He simply observed. Hours passed. The waiting room became hotter. The young mother's baby began crying. The elderly man checked his watch repeatedly. The graduate wiped sweat from his forehead. Yet Lydia seemed unbothered. She spent long periods talking on her phone. Sometimes laughter burst from her office. At other times, she sat chatting with friends while visitors continued waiting. An old supplier approached her office carefully. "Madam, I came regarding my delayed payment." Lydia barely looked at him. "Didn't they tell you to wait?" "Yes, madam, but I have been coming for several days." "So?" The old man hesitated. "I only wanted to know when." "Can't you see I am busy?" she snapped. "Must you people disturb me every minute?" The old man's shoulders dropped. "I'm sorry, madam." He walked away slowly. Abuja watched him leave. He imagined the man's family waiting at home. Perhaps children needed school fees. Perhaps there was rent to pay. Yet all he had received was humiliation. Shortly afterward, the young mother, carrying the baby, approached. "Madam, please forgive me. Could you guide me on where to submit these documents?" Lydia frowned. "Are you blind? Can't you read instructions?" The woman looked embarrassed. "I am sorry, madam. I only wanted guidance." "Move aside and stop wasting my time." The woman returned to her seat, holding back tears. The baby continued crying softly. Abuja clenched his fists beneath the file he carried. He wanted to stand up. He wanted to reveal himself. But he remained silent. He had come to observe. He needed to know everything. Around midday, one of the junior employees entered Lydia's office. "Madam, I need your approval regarding the supplier's request." Lydia looked annoyed. "Use your brain." "Madam, must I solve every problem in this company?" The employee lowered his head. "I'm sorry." As he walked away, several workers exchanged uncomfortable glances. Nobody dared speak. Fear had become part of the workplace. Abuja felt pain in his heart. This was not leadership. Leadership was meant to inspire people. Leadership was supposed to lift others. Instead, authority had become a weapon. He looked around the reception area again. The young man seeking employment stared at the floor. The elderly supplier looked defeated. The young mother comforted her child. And still, everyone waited. None of them knew that sitting quietly among them was the owner of the entire company. None of them knew that cameras fixed on the walls were recording every moment. None of them knew that before this day ended, lives would change forever. Abuja remained seated quietly at the corner of the waiting area, pretending to be just another desperate job seeker. The old file rested on his lap, but his eyes missed nothing. He had built this company with sweat, sacrifice, sleepless nights, and prayers. Looking around the reception area, he saw people who reminded him of the person he had once been. The young man beside him finally sighed heavily. "I don't know what I will tell my mother if I go back home without any good news," he said softly. Abuja turned toward him. "What happened?" he asked. The young man swallowed hard. "My father died 2 years ago. My mother sells vegetables in the market. She borrowed money from neighbors so that I could travel here and look for work. Every time I come, I am told to return another day." His eyes became red. "I studied hard because I believed education would change our lives. But sometimes I wonder whether poor people were born only to suffer." Abuja felt his heart tighten. He wanted to tell the young man not to lose hope. He wanted to reveal who he truly was, but he remained silent. A few minutes later, laughter echoed from Lydia's office. The people waiting looked toward the door. Lydia was sitting comfortably in her chair with her phone pressed against her ear. "No, no," she laughed loudly. "You are making me laugh too much." She continued chatting as though she were relaxing at home instead of working. Meanwhile, people remained seated, waiting for assistance. The elderly supplier, who had been insulted earlier, approached one of the receptionists. "My daughter," he said gently, "do you know when Madame may see me?" The receptionist looked uncomfortable. "I don't know, sir. I have grandchildren depending on me," the old man said. "I only need an answer." Before the receptionist could respond, Lydia appeared at the doorway. "Didn't I tell you to wait?" she shouted. The old man's hands trembled. "I am sorry, madam. If you cannot wait, you can leave." The entire reception area fell silent. The old man lowered his head and slowly returned to his seat. Abuja watched everything. His heart ached. How many people had gone home carrying wounds caused by careless words? How many dreams had been crushed in this very room? How many tears had been shed because someone forgot that leadership requires compassion? He lifted his eyes toward the security cameras mounted above. Every moment was being recorded. Around lunchtime, Lydia once again picked up her phone. This time, her voice became soft. "I miss you," she said. Then she laughed. "No, stop it." She covered her face playfully. "You know how to make me happy." The people waiting looked at one another awkwardly. Lydia continued, "I wish you were here." Then, after a brief pause, she smiled and whispered words that made Abuja's heart sink. "I love you too." The room remained quiet. Abuja lowered his eyes. Pain pierced his heart. He did not know the full meaning behind those words, and he refused to jump to conclusions. Still, hearing them from the woman he trusted deeply wounded him. Yet he remained calm. He had not come there as a jealous husband. He had come to discover the truth. And the truth was revealing itself little by little. Hours passed. People became restless. The young mother carrying the baby had not eaten. The graduate seeking employment kept checking his certificates. The young man beside Abuja wiped tears from his eyes when nobody seemed to notice. Then suddenly, one of the supervisors rushed into Lydia's office. "Madam, we need the owner's approval regarding an urgent matter." Lydia immediately straightened herself. "I need to call my husband." Her tone changed completely. "Nobody should disturb me." She picked up her phone. "I want to talk to someone important." Then she dialed Abuja's number. At that exact moment, the old phone hidden inside Abuja's pocket began ringing loudly. Everyone turned toward the sound. Lydia's face darkened. "Whoever that is," she shouted, "switch off your phone immediately." "I said I want to talk to someone important." People looked around nervously. Abuja slowly removed the small phone from his pocket. "I'm sorry, madam," he said respectfully. He pressed the power button. The phone switched off. Instantly, Lydia's call disconnected. She frowned. What happened? She looked at her screen and dialed again. This time, the call failed. She tried again. Still nothing. "Why is his phone off?" she complained loudly. "I need to speak with someone important." Abuja lowered his head and remained silent. The irony of the moment nearly broke his heart. The important person she desperately wanted to reach was sitting just a few steps away, dressed like an ordinary man. Yet because she believed he was poor, she had treated him as though he did not matter. For the rest of the afternoon, Abuja continued observing. Employees approached Lydia with fear. Visitors hesitated before asking questions. The atmosphere in the office lacked warmth. No one seemed happy. No one seemed valued. As evening approached, some visitors gave up and left. The elderly supplier stood up slowly. "May God help us," he whispered before walking away. The young mother adjusted her sleeping baby and left quietly. The young graduate folded his certificates carefully. "Maybe next time," he said with disappointment. The young man sitting beside Abuja sighed deeply. "I don't know what I will tell my mother." Then he stood and left. Abuja watched each person go, one by one, disappointed, discouraged, broken. He remained seated until almost closing time. Then, without revealing who he was, he stood up. He looked at Lydia one final time. She was laughing on her phone again. Without saying a word, Abuja quietly walked out of the company. That night, he did not sleep. He sat in darkness, remembering his own struggles. He remembered sleeping in cheap lodges because he had traveled seeking work. He remembered skipping meals. He remembered the humiliation of being ignored simply because he looked poor. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He had trusted Lydia. He had believed she understood pain. Instead, power had changed her. Before dawn, he made a decision. The following morning, an urgent meeting was announced. Every employee was instructed to attend. The conference hall quickly filled. Managers took their seats. Receptionists whispered among themselves. Supervisors wondered what the meeting was about. Even Lydia appeared relaxed. Perhaps it was a performance review. Perhaps new policies would be announced. Then the conference doors opened. Abuja entered wearing one of his elegant suits. Everyone immediately stood. "Good morning, sir." "Good morning," Abuja replied calmly. Lydia smiled. "Good morning, dear." But when she looked closely at his face, something felt different. He did not smile back. The room fell silent as Abuja stood before everyone. "I called this meeting because there is something important we need to discuss." Nobody moved. "Yesterday," he began, "I came to this company disguised as a job seeker." The room froze. Lydia stared at him. "No," she whispered. "I removed my expensive clothes. I carried an old file. I sat among visitors." His voice trembled. "And I watched everything." People exchanged shocked glances. Then Abuja looked directly at Lydia. "It was me." Lydia's eyes widened. "It was me you told to stop asking too many questions because this company was not for my father." Tears immediately filled her eyes. "It was me you ordered to switch off my phone because you wanted to speak with someone important." The room became completely silent. "It was me who watched an elderly supplier leave in humiliation. It was me who watched a young mother struggle to seek guidance. It was me who saw employees being insulted. It was me who listened as job seekers lost hope. It was me who heard people leave this company feeling worthless." Lydia covered her mouth. "No!" she cried. Then suddenly, she rushed forward and fell to her knees before everyone. Her body shook with uncontrollable sobs. "I'm sorry," she cried. "Please forgive me." "I didn't know it was you." Abuja's eyes filled with tears. "That is exactly the problem," he said softly. "You should not need to know who someone is before treating them with kindness." Lydia held his legs. "I forgot who I was," she sobbed. "Power changed me. I became proud. I forgot what it means to be human." Employees wiped tears from their eyes. Some lowered their heads in shame. Others silently prayed. Abuja looked around the room. The person wearing torn clothes deserves respect. The job seeker deserves respect. The cleaner deserves respect. The security guard deserves respect. The elderly deserve respect. The poor deserve respect. Every human being deserves dignity. He paused. Then he continued. The greatest tragedy is not poverty. The greatest tragedy is losing compassion after becoming successful. Lydia cried harder. Please give me another chance. Obuja gently helped her stand. I forgive you, he said. But forgiveness must be followed by change. He turned toward the employees. From today, this company will not only be known for profit. It will be known for kindness. It will be known for respect. It will be known for humanity. We will never build success upon the tears of others. The room erupted into tears and applause. Many employees realized they too needed to change, because sometimes people become so busy chasing power that they forget the value of people. That day transformed the company forever. And the lesson remained clear. Never look down on anyone because of their appearance. Never misuse authority. Never make people feel small simply because they need your help. Because the stranger sitting quietly in the waiting room may be the owner of the company. And even if they are not, they are still human beings created by God, deserving of love, dignity, patience, and respect. At the end of life, people may forget your wealth. They may forget your position. They may forget your expensive clothes and titles, but they will never forget how you treated them. Choose kindness. Choose humility. Choose compassion. Because true greatness is found not in being served, but in serving others with love. Thank you for listening to this story. May it remind us to treat everyone with kindness and respect. Please subscribe, like, and share this message so others can learn these valuable lessons too.